let's role play this, right? I want to give you a scenario, like give us some pointers. Somebody's sitting there. Let's say they've got an electrical contracting business with, let's be completely gender stereotypical. They've got 2 females in the office. They've got 10 male sparkies in the field, and they've got this toxic culture of them and us. The guys typically don't fill in their paperwork, whatever, call in sick on a Monday every now and then. Business owner is a maybe a more introvert person, so not really a get up, gregarious presenter. What are some things that they could do to turn that culture around over a period of time? Like, I just wouldn't mind hearing from you. What are some points they could walk through to kind of go, oh, yep, that's some good things?
Yeah. Well, I think any good culture is based on an agreed set of values. So some kind of mechanism to decide how you're going to operate as a team is really important. You really need to have that discussion, because every one of those individuals will walk into your organization with a set of assumptions that may not be aligned to everyone else's. Might come from different backgrounds, different experiences, different workplaces where there are different expectations. And so, sitting around a table and going, you know what, we all spend a lot of time together here, so how are we going to treat each other? And trying to articulate doesn't have to be a big, long, massive exercise, but an agreement of how we're going to treat each other, and how we're going to operate with our clients and our suppliers, but particularly as a team, how we're going to operate. So some sort of rules of engagement, set of values. I heard someone the other day say, why don't you call it virtues rather than values? And I thought that was actually really quite clever, because virtues are, intrinsic to you and important to you. Whereas Groucho Marx says, if you don't like my values, I've got plenty more that you can have a look at. The values can be a little bit superfluous, but virtues, what are the virtues we're going to bring to this business? So we're going to operate in integrity, we're going to treat each other well, we're going to respect each other, we're going to answer each other's phone calls, and what's a reasonable amount of time to wait for an email answer, those kind of things. So some sort of way of deciding what behaviors you're going to operate on are really important. Specifically when you've got people out in the field and at home base, there's often, silos, because people don't really appreciate the nuances of being in each of those situations. I ran a small textile business where we had guys in the warehouse wrapping parcels, and we had guys out in the cars, selling fabrics, and they're always at war on something. So I got the sales rep to come into the warehouse and roll a few fabric rolls for a couple of days, and we parked a couple of the key warehouse guys in the sales reps' cars, going out and talking to customers. And there was nothing like just getting a little bit of a taste of the other world to get everyone to be a little bit more reasonable, a little bit more understanding of, oh, okay, so yeah, when your customer's screaming at you, we know why. And also when the sales reps were there rolling fabrics, they realized that all the orders were coming in the last minute, and there was unreal expectations about how things were being dispatched. So a little bit of learning in each other's worlds is very helpful.
I love it. Virgin Australia do that really well. One of their internal, policies or structures is that, anybody from sort of middle management upwards has to go and do a day in the field every few months. And so what you end up with, you end up with the accountant who's behind a desk, with spreadsheets, going and spending a day loading luggage onto a conveyor belt, right? And this story came back to me that I thought was fascinating, because there's this accountant who's throwing bags on, and this conveyor belt is torn and shredded, and anyway, and the accountant kind of goes, oh, like what's happened here? And this guy's like, the boffins at the top are not prepared to invest in us, and we don't care, we don't matter down here. And the accountant goes, no, I'm going to have a new one delivered to you next week, And so all of a sudden, the baggage handlers feel valued. The accountant's got some perspective outside of his spreadsheets, and I think it's a great. I mean, you could take that concept and take it to a electrical contracting firm with a team of 12, right, and do the same thing. And I think that's actually pretty genius, because you're building empathy and sympathy amongst the team, and it puts everyone back on the same page. I think it's pretty clever.
Yeah, very valuable, very valuable. there's another thing around culture that really helps. I mean, you can empower people, which is important. But if you don't have a clear direction for your organization that is clearly articulated, that everyone in the organization understands what it is, then you'll get misalignment. You'll have different sets of priorities. But if everybody across the organization understands what it is that you're trying to achieve, and they can articulate it, then it really helps to align people. They cooperate more. They drop things that they know they don't need to do and start doing things they do need to do, and it can really help with some alignment around culture.